We are the restaurant brokers, and we sell restaurants.
We started the nation's largest restaurant brokerage firm over a decade ago.
Atlanta, Georgia was our starting point, but our brand is spreading nationwide. We define restaurant brokerage and help buyers just like these.
Our dream, our goal, open up a restaurant, loving life, serving people breakfast and lunch, and then enjoying the rest of the day with them and ourselves.
Buying an existing restaurant, leasing a closed restaurant space, or purchasing a restaurant franchise. We help buyers satisfy their appetite for acquisition.
I'm part of a husband and wife team with this fella.
Working with my wife has been a lot of fun. The ultimate goal for everybody here is to make this work. And because we have different strengths, we bring different angles to the deal.
The process begins with our powerhouse website, WeSellRestaurants.com, where buyers sign online confidentiality agreements and browse restaurants for sale.
Then we send buyers undercover to check out a restaurant and decide if it's the right one for them.
Buyers get our proprietary business analysis tool with all the financial details on the business for sale.
After studying the restaurant inside and out, it's back to our office.
We're deal makers. We write contracts and negotiate terms for buyers and sellers. That's why we sell more restaurants than any other firm in the nation. We are the restaurant brokers. Our name says it all.
I'm Robin Gagnon.
And I'm Eric Gagnon, and we sell restaurants. We started the nation's largest restaurant brokerage firm, We Sell Restaurants, over a decade ago. You can find us online at WeSellRestaurants.com.
That's not all. We're also on your radio once a week with the leading authorities in the restaurant business, talking about subjects trending in this industry. Tweet your questions while we are on the air to our Twitter handle. It's @SellRestaurants. Post to our Facebook page, facebook.com/WeSellRestaurants. We don't get to your question, we'll follow up on our social media channels.
Our goal is to satisfy your appetite for acquisition, feed the need for restaurant reality, and serve up a recipe for business success. If you have any ideas or any questions for our show, feel free to send me an email. My email is Eric, E-R-I-C, @WeSellRestaurants.com.
So today's show is a special treat. We're talking takeout. That's right. Takeout and delivery services have become the nation's most popular way to serve hungry customers. This week, we're going literally on the run to talk to the delivery experts about what makes this trend so popular. What is the secret to running a successful delivery service? Today, we'll explore America's guilty pleasure. Our first guest is Jennifer Peet, Vice President and partner of Zifty. Zifty.com was founded in 2003 and has since grown from 1 employee and 6 participating restaurants to 61 employees, 95 restaurants, and $2,900,000 in annual volume in just 9 short years. The company has experienced 146% growth over the past 3 years, which prompted its inclusion on the Inc. 5000 list. Jen has her focus on growing the business, a company that continues to leap forward by 30% every year. She's done this by securing corporate partnerships, being passionate about the customer experience, and teaching the fine art of a handwritten note to her team. She enjoys running obstacle courses of all varieties, traveling, chasing after her son, 7, and their Labradoodle, Hudson. Thank you, Jennifer, for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Great.
And we are also joined today by Chef Jessica Swift. She is an experienced chef and registered dietitian with a master's degree in nutritional sciences. Chef Jess prides herself on bridging the gap between scientific and layman's term for her clientele. She specializes in turning science into delicious meals to help to be your best inside out. Meal delivery service and nutritional consulting create an excellent experience for customers too busy to cook or in need of specialized meal for dietary reason. Chef Swift, we're so glad you're with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so you guys are coming at this from two opposite ends sort of the delivery spectrum because, Chef Jess, I assume that since you're looking at people from the inside out, you're doing really good for you, not so much guilty pleasures, whereas, Jen, I've got to get the scoop. How did you come up with Zifty? Where did this germinate from? So tell us your story first, and then we're going to ask Chef Jess to weigh in as well.
Well, the idea actually came when my business partner was getting his PhD at Georgia Tech, and he really thought that online delivery and food delivery could be done in a profitable way. It was right after Cosmo and Webvan had gone south, had gone out of business. So he he basically coded up out of a project, and that project became a very small company. And 11 years later, this is where we are.
That is great. Now, Chef Jess, you approach it a little bit differently, right? You're not a big guy out like Zifty delivering multiple restaurants. You are delivering just really good nutritional food, correct?
Well, yeah, but we've actually expanded onto corporate as well. I actually started off in 2009, so we're a little bit newer, but it started off as individual nutrition consultations in home and also individual meal prep. I started consulting with doctors, and they referred me to their partners and so on and so forth, and the business just got to the point where one chef and dietitian just couldn't do it anymore. And actually, January 1 of this year is when my sister left her job in corporate America and was able to come on as my business partner, and we started our meal delivery service, and we deliver throughout Metro D.C. So up to Baltimore, we have down to Woodbridge, and all in between. And our focus is healthy meals for people who just don't have time to cook. We work with a lot of local farmers. We are always in the farmers market looking for the freshest produce. Also, what's in season, the menu changes. And our customers just really seem to love it. And I think they really love that peace of mind that you get from knowing that what you're eating is designed for you. It's like a designer intake for you, and knowing that it's healthy.
That's great. Let me ask you this, both of you, and Jennifer, I'll ask you to chime in first. Meeting customer expectations in the restaurant is already challenging enough. There's so many moving parts nowadays. Now we're trying to do this in a delivery. So what are the key parts to meet or even exceed customer expectation when you do delivery?
Well, you're right. There are a lot of moving factors, with restaurants and with delivery. And so one thing is we work with the owners directly to develop a menu that will travel well. So we don't necessarily offer everything that you might be able to have in the actual restaurant. And then on the back end, we do real-time tracking. So you're going to know up to the minute how long something is going to take to be delivered to you. We have and you can actually watch it online, so you can see where the driver is. They're waiting at the restaurant for the food. They're on 10th Street. They've approached your building. So people really enjoy that tracker. So it gives them an idea of what the process looks like. So that's what we do. And we also work with average ticket times that each restaurant has. So they tell us X takes this long to cook, and so that's when we're actually placing the order with the restaurant. So we try to keep that process as tight as possible on the back end.
So that's kind of interesting, because it's not just as simplistic as saying, oh, here's the menu, we'll come get it and deliver it out. There is a true process approach that goes into this, all the way from the menu onto the back end of it, in making sure that food gets delivered hot, fresh, and cooked to order, correct?
There's so many moving parts. People think, sometimes we've talked to restaurants and they say, well, we do delivery ourselves, and we start kind of talking about all the processes and all the, we're obviously 11 years in collecting all this information and data and how long it takes for drivers to get out of specific buildings and on specific streets and what time of day, and all those things are factored into when that quote time is made, so we can help manage the customer's expectation of when their food's going to arrive. And of course, they're paying us to do it right and to get it hot and to be there on time. So yeah, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes.
Good. Chef Jess, you want to add to this?
Well, yes. Her system sounds awesome. We actually hired a logistic coordinator, and for us, we have specific routes for our drivers. We have we use an app that actually helps us with the schedule. So honestly, our driver can have the same route from Tuesday to Wednesday and take a different way depending on different traffic patterns that we've noticed in different streets. So they kind of handle that on the back end as well. But we actually have 2-hour delivery times unless it is a specific event like corporate catering or something where we have a specific delivery time, say noon or 1. But if you're getting meal delivery service, we have a 2-hour window, and that has actually helped us not be late for deliveries thus far, but I have my fingers crossed.
Right.
And what are some of the challenges that you face? Jen, weigh in, delivery, big orders, food safety, it seems as though it's a terrifying idea. And it's funny because I can remember way back in the 90s, I was in graduate school, and I did a paper for one of my professors because he said, imagine an online business. And I said, food delivery, and he said, will never work. So I guess your partner was braver than me.
I mean, there are challenges. I mean, there's things that, generally our rushes are the same that a restaurant has. So sometimes there can be a backup on that side of things. Or, we do have large orders that come in, and so that changes things a bit too. And then there's traffic jams, or, the president being in town, or weather that comes out of nowhere. So it's just, it's learning how to respond to that and, reacting the best way that we can. And so we've got a great team of managers, and, now actually we have over, 90 employees, and on a given night we have 50 drivers driving around Atlanta just inside the perimeter. So there's a lot going on at all times, and so it's just we do the best that we can in keeping things moving and smoothly.
So, Jess, you're growing, and so what are those challenges? Is that why you've brought somebody on board to help you with the logistics, to learn those pieces?
We had to, because, yes, President Obama will definitely start a blockade in the middle of rush hour traffic on a Thursday evening, and that has actually happened, and that is why those 2-hour windows save us so much, because living in D.C., it happens all the time, and most of our business is inside the perimeter of Metro D.C. Also, we get a lot of, people want the deliveries to their office, so a lot of lunchtime orders and things like that. So that is definitely one of the challenges. But on my end, another challenge has been making sure that it's basically an individualized process. So I could say I'm going to make one dinner for Tuesday, and say it's some type of quinoa salad, and say it's, the fall where there's fresh Brussels sprouts available, and I have, 25 people who say no Brussels sprouts. That means that one quinoa salad now turns into 2, and then say someone else says they don't like sweet potatoes. So honestly, we end up making the same recipe, but I have for my staff that cooks, we have about 25 variations of the same recipe. So just making sure the right customer gets the right recipe. That has probably been the most challenging because it's more time consuming, but, that is our niche and that's what works for our customers. So, we're going to keep doing it, but we're always looking for ways to simplify that process.
That's good information. You guys, both of you, talk about traffic and how critical having good drivers and everything. And as restaurant brokers, we deal with a lot of delivery, like some of the large pizza chains that we've sold, or even the mom and pop. And they always say, hey, drivers is a hard thing to come by. How do you guys do this? I mean, Jess, you have, Jennifer, you have a lot of drivers. How do you keep good drivers around? What are some of the key components of keeping these people around and do a good job for you?
We're very fortunate to have a low turnover and amazing team, and we didn't get there overnight. And what we learned was we need to have a very specific onboarding process. So, there's a phone interview, an in-person interview, there's a driver evaluation, there's orientation, there's training. So it's not a, come talk to us and, start next Tuesday kind of thing. We probably hire 2 out of 100 people that apply. Wow. And what we do is we realize that it's a tipping environment, and so what we want to do is make sure that someone has a stable income coming in. So we do guaranteed wages, and we also offer full health benefits. We have 401k, and we also have full package for anybody who's working 30 hours or more. So that's pretty unique to someone who's coming from even a regular retail environment or working in a restaurant. So that's how I think we keep a great team on board.
And how about you, Jess?
I think one of the things that has definitely helped us is our sense of camaraderie. We have employee activities every month, whether we're running a 5K together, whether we're doing a cooking class together, things like that. I think that kind of helps because it makes you feel more like a family instead of just an employee. So for us, just starting out, that has been what has worked best for us.
Now, do you guys deliver food along the 5K? You take bags with you and deliver some food?
Well, since I'm a registered dietitian, we take a big emphasis on wellness. So pretty much everything that we do is kind of revolves around the wellness aspect. And I also get it seems like the type of people who apply for the company, they're either looking to try to get into the nutrition and they want to know. And I think just, gaining that knowledge, I've actually had employees come in and, learn how we cook things and just about different foods and, different exercise regimens. And they've actually lost weight. And that's another thing that has had them stay. So I just think that whole wellness mindset is kind of what, helps our company stay strong.
Okay, so you don't have to be sloughing on the couch ordering takeout pizza. You can, have that takeout come to you in a more healthy fashion then. That's the message, right?
Yeah, and honestly, we tell people, if you would like a personal chef without actually having, someone in your home, then order for us because, literally, if you tell me you don't like broccoli, you will never get broccoli, but you will get all different types of greens and things that, would expand your food horizon, things that you've maybe never tried or that you may be scared to try. I have people say, oh, my gosh, I love bok choy, but I didn't know, this is what it tastes like, or I tried to cook it before and it turned brown. So there are things that, you're receiving the food and you're receiving it prepared correctly.
So, Jen, let me ask you this, because a lot of restaurateurs, and we talk about this in our restaurant reality segment many, many times, that restaurateurs will see a trend and they'll try to jump on it, whether it's food or a certain type of cuisine or one thing or another. Is delivery something that in your mind needs to be outsourced? Is that really the premise of Zifty, that they need to concentrate on building the food for the in-house experience, and then for delivery, you're better off to outsource that to a company like yours? And if so, why?
I think so. Restaurants work with us for a bunch of different reasons, but the delivery part of it is definitely its own business. A restaurant may get a couple of delivery orders a day, but that doesn't really employ somebody full time for their restaurant. So there's not a lot of stability for that person. So there tends to be a lot of turnover. And also, when you're having those conversations with those restaurants, they're not properly insured to be doing deliveries, and so they've got some exposure there, which is obviously not a great idea for your business. Mm-hmm. So they find that it's better to work with us because we've screened, we've done the MVRs, we know they're properly insured, we're insured as a company, we insure the drivers. So, and we've got the process down. And so also we manage all the customer service on that side. So if there's a problem with the food or the delivery or the time or the packaging or anything, those calls or live chats or emails are coming through us. So that's completely off of their staff. And so that's just one less thing that they have to do. When we saw that first downturn since we've launched, we were a great source of revenue because we didn't really go through that downturn. And so people weren't going out to eat, but for one reason or another, people were still ordering online and willing to pay for convenience. And so we were a revenue stream for them. So, the fact that you can go to one spot, and actually it's 140 restaurants. And so depending on where you live is what restaurants will appear. So it's a community of restaurants, and it's just bringing them their customers that, go eat there, but it's also bringing them the Zifty customer as well. So, there's the added bonus of that.
Yeah, so it's kind of like mutual. You're right, because you don't think about that from the restaurateur standpoint. Just because you're in that Zifty list, you may get exposed to a customer who's a high user of takeout and delivery, and they would never go to your restaurant, but, it's one of their choices, so they're going to try something new, create a new customer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, at the when we launched, we really had to rely on the restaurant, that brand, to give Zifty credibility because no one had ever heard of Zifty, right? Well, now, restaurants are coming to us because it's a tight community, and restaurant owners talk to other restaurant owners. And so when that customer comes and they see that they're partnered with us, and maybe they haven't heard of it, that gives them the credibility now of like, oh, I've been ordering from them for years. Who is this? And they try it out. So it's an added revenue stream there too.
That's great. Now, I want to talk a little bit about technology. This is something that is present in the restaurant industry, from standalone to, in dining to your part of the world. And Chef Jess, you mentioned an app earlier that your driver used and everything. What else from a technology perspective have you done or are you looking to implement in the future as far as enhancing the customer experience from a technology perspective?
Well, I just want to go back a little bit. As far as Jen's idea, her company, this sounds amazing. I would like to commend her because the logistics, I sat in some of those meetings. I'm not ahead of the logistics, and honestly, that is a headache for me. So, Jen, please talk to me after the show.
There you go.
Definitely.
And as far as technology, we do have another, our chief of operations. She's the one who brings in, we do have a database where, as far as printouts, we know what customer needs what goes out what day. So, pretty much we just do a query and we can find out anything and everything about all of our customers. When people first sign in, there is an automated form sent out, and within that form, it answers your likes and dislikes, and all that just shoots back to the database, and we literally get an Excel printout sheet. So on that part, for me, that is awesome. And like I said, our COO handles a lot of the back end because I had no idea so many different programs and technology went into just getting this one printout that I need that actually makes my life a lot easier.
Right. And so let me ask both of you this, too, because if you look at the statistics that the National Restaurant Association puts out each year, you see that share of the food dollar for each family keeps going up for restaurants, takeout, delivery. People just don't cook at home anymore. Is that where you see things going? And just kind of in general, where do you see takeout and delivery in terms of growth overall? And Jen, maybe you can start.
Okay. We definitely see that people are willing to pay for convenience, whether it's getting your groceries delivered or getting your meal delivered. We're busy people. We're overengaged. I don't really see that happen, that change happening anytime soon. And so, that's why we've seen that steady, 30% of growth since we've launched. And, we're actually expanding into Houston and to 9 other markets next year. And so we've just see the demand being there and for good, locally owned restaurants in those markets. And you get home at 6:00, everybody's had practice, people are doing homework, and they just don't want to cook or they don't want to go back out.
I think, too, just the idea of everything online, this whole generation of millennials that we have now, it's about instant gratification. They click a button and something appears, and that just feeds right into your business model of if you want it, click a button and here it comes. Is that right, Jess?
Yes, and I know that since we have launched, initially we were just doing, those special diets. So you need celiac meals, you need meals for diabetes. But since we have started offering the overall healthy family meals, that actually has, as far as sales, that has surpassed the specialized diets. So literally we're getting, busy families, busy moms and dads who don't have time to cook. They want to make sure when the kids get home, they have a meal. And all of our meals are fully cooked, fresh ingredients. We only send out 3 days at a time, so you never have to worry about the food being, old or bad. So to keep up with the freshness, we found that 3 days is just enough. And with that, you just pop it in the oven, on the stovetop or in the microwave, and your meal can be ready in about 2 minutes.
Okay, so it's a guilty pleasure, and it's also a way that folks can avoid that guilt of saying, I'm not giving my family the best, most nutritious meals for them. So this is just a great segment. This is Eric and Robin Gagnon, the Restaurant Brokers. We are talking with food delivery experts as we satisfy your appetite for acquisition, feed the need for restaurant reality, and serve up a recipe for business success. Stay tuned after this very short time out. We'll be back and talk more with Zifty and Chef Jessica Swift.